Hello and welcome to this 2015 Mark 7 Golf R, a car where its own clientele precede themselves with inconsiderate driving and a cloud of vape smoke. If this car was a holiday, it'd be Magaluf, wouldn't it? And they've kind of become like the vanilla ice cream of the UK car scene, haven't they? Everyone seems to have one, so it's quite hard to get excited about them. As a result, there's many of them out there, riddled with previous crash damage, modifications, and all manner of stains on the seats. But this is none of the above. This, I believe, is as close as you can get to a factory fresh 2015 car with just 36,000 miles on the clock. So how does it drive? Well, let's find out. Welcome back to the channel, and isn't this just a timely reminder as to why we should never judge a book by its cover? Because prejudice aside, these cars really do drive very well. At the heart of it is that EA treble 8 engine, of course, and you can see why it's the darling of the VW lineup. Even in standard form, its 300 brake horsepower shifts this little Golf down the road at a rapid pace, as we'll find out once we're out of traffic here. Typical, I turn the camera on and now I'm in a traffic jam. Now, the other thing as well is if you don't fit these engines with a Mackie D's car park special exhaust, they actually sound all right as well. Cut to a sound clip of me out of traffic and you can be the judge. By far one of the best things about a Golf R, let me try and give you a practical demonstration here, is the grip. The Haldex system that they equip these things with is just unbelievably effective. One of the best for road driving, I would say, up there with Audi's Quattro. You do need to clean the filter on it every now and then, but it's not exactly a big deal, is it? It's a very large part of what makes this car feel so capable, not just from a standstill or lower speeds, but on the move as well. You can be sure when you plant the throttle in this thing, you're just going to move towards the horizon in a very efficient, effective, grown-up way. I know that's not for everyone though. M140 drivers need not apply. Everything about a Golf R plays into this wolf in sheep's clothing type identity that it has. It's subtle enough as to not frighten a pensioner, but still exciting enough that walking up to it with a key in your pocket does give you a real buzz. That engine is so torquey. Now, the other thing that this car has, and I'd really recommend trying to seek one with it if you are thinking about buying one, it's got the DCC suspension. Now, that's VW's own adaptive suspension. It can be adjusted through the different drive modes here on the screen inside the car, and I very much enjoyed the silky smoothness of the comfort setting, but who doesn't take advantage of the odd bit of stiffness now and then? Now, one thing I would add is be careful of the specification on the Golf that you're thinking about buying. This one's really nicely equipped. It's got these heated leather bucket seats, it's got adaptive cruise, it's got pearl paint. That white pearl paint, I probably wouldn't have paid any extra money for that until I seen it in the flesh. When you see the sun hit it, it's worth every penny. Power mirrors, 19-inch Pretoria wheels. Be careful with those wheels as well, they do buckle very easily, although I love the design of them. You need to be on the lookout for potholes. My point here is all of these were optional extras, so make sure on the one that you're thinking about buying, it's got what you need. Make sure it's not a bit bargain basement, a bit barren. Whatever one you end up with though, they do have a really reassuring Germanic feel to them. If you compare it to something similar, let's say a Mark III Focus RS, these things feel a lot better screwed together than they do. You just don't expect the quality from a car of this size. Now, one other thing you might have noticed is I am rowing my own gears here on this joyous little manual gearbox. Everyone is so quick to jump to a DSG, S3 or Golf R, given it's the same platform. But I would honestly say don't be so fast. You get these a little bit cheaper than you do DSG cars, and the gearbox is an absolute joy. Do I need my gear changes to be any faster than this? Probably not. Do I favour having more of an experience when driving the car thanks to this manual gearbox? I think I do. I think if I moved to a DSG car, I would probably miss it. Now, the only downside to getting a manual Golf R, or again S3, given it's the same engine and gearbox setup, is if you plan on modifying it. So the clutch in these manual gearboxes does not modify very well. It's the same clutch as they fit in the GTI. So in the R, in stock form, it's kind of already on its limit. So the moment you start trying to apply modifications to it, maps to it, performance bits, that clutch is going to be the first thing to go. You notice they just start slipping right away, so you're going to need to budget to put a better clutch in if that's your plan. Whereas with the DSG cars, you can map away until your heart is content. The clutch is in them, put up with it much, much better. Wow, they're fast. They're so capable. I'm telling you, they are so capable, even stock. As for practicality, well, it's a Golf, innit, bruv? It's as good as it gets. Plenty of headroom. I'm 6'1" for reference, by the way, just so you can place yourself in my seat. Plenty of leg room behind me. I reckon, yeah, I probably could sit behind myself as well. Maybe for a short journey, wouldn't want to be in there long term. Plenty of elbow room. Whatever kind of room you need, the Golf has got it. Now, I am going to be doing a completely refreshed buyer's guide using this Golf R. I'll show you exactly what you need to be on the lookout for if you're thinking about buying a used one. I also apologise for the sun today. We're not used to this in Scotland, as you can probably tell. My camera's having a bit of a hard time with it, but hopefully it's still watchable. What I'll do in this buyer's guide is I'll try and get the car on a ramp, show you exactly what you need to check if you are thinking about buying a used one. Main problems with these, well, as is the case with a lot of VW products now, the water pump and thermostat, it's the same housing. Now, these can tend to leak, really infamous for leaking. A few of these Golf Rs have been through 2 or 3 water pumps by now. What to look for there is obviously a coolant leak, but also a smell from it. Get your head under the bonnet after you've been a drive. That sort of sweet smell that you get from coolant, be on the lookout for that, or be on the sniff for that, I should say. When it gets really bad, even just getting out the car after a spirited drive, you can smell it in the air. Beyond that, there's a couple of specific oil leaks to look for, a few problems with the Haldex system to check for, make sure it's been serviced. I'm going to cover it all, basically, in that buyer's guide. So if you are interested in seeing that, if you are going to be buying a used one of these, then do hit subscribe, give this video a like, and you'll see that video pop up. Give me about a week to get that out, about a week. Now, one other thing you absolutely want to be sure that you're doing is an HPI check. Lots of these have been crashed, covered up, lots of these have got finance on them. Do not get stung with this. Now, the company that I always recommend, there's obviously loads out there, but the one that I use and recommend is Vehicle Score. It's a really good, thorough check. You'll see it here. I'll put a little clip of it. They also do a free check, so just by putting the plate in, you can see some information about that car. Really though, you should be buying one of their paid HPI reports. The good thing about Vehicle Score as well is when you buy a report, if it comes back clear, they'll refund all your money. Can't really say fairer than that, can you? It's really good to say. I use it myself. Make sure you do that before you commit to a car. I have just passed another MK7 Golf R. It was in black, camera wasn't running, but I swear on my big dog's life, who I love a great deal, the man who made eye contact with me was wearing a Burberry cap. He had a Burberry cap on. All in all, this little Golf has been an absolute joy. I get it. I get the appeal of these cars now. I didn't before. Admittedly, I would have probably always bought something else, but getting behind the wheel, using one for a little while, it's just so good at everything. As I say, I've done doctor appointment runs in this car. I've been on back road thrashes. It just does everything fantastically well, even in stock form. Chances are it's going to be reliable as well. Miles to the gallon wise, well, I've been getting about 32, 33 if it's mostly been motorway, 26, 25 if it's been back roads, a little bit less if you're gunning it, of course. I think those are pretty respectable numbers. When you can look around 90% of the time and you are the fastest thing on the road, I think those are pretty reasonable numbers for miles to the gallon. Tax wise as well, it avoids the punitive tax brackets that we've got here in the UK. I think it was about £230 for the year. I mean, what's not to love with these cars? Yeah, I get it, they're a bit common. There's a bit of prejudice against them, as I began this video with, but they really are good. So if you've enjoyed this video, despite all the traffic jams that I've sat in, please do give this video a like, leave your thoughts in the comments section below, hit the subscribe button, and there'll be plenty more golf content and other stuff coming as well. Cheers for now. Oh, Jesus.